Welcome, coaches, to the IFCA Journal podcast. I'm your host, PJ Hedrington. I would like to welcome our guest, the living legend from Gladbrook-Reinbeck, John Olson, on this special St. Patty Day podcast, which is cold outside. Oh my God, we just got done with the blizzard, as you know, and that's just kind of the way it goes. And I'll read his bio to you. He's been at Gladbrook for almost 21 years. He's been there for 20 plus years. Before that, he was at Union Laporte from 96 to, I believe it was 2000. He's been the head coach there for many, many, many moons. He's, oh my gosh, 2 state titles. He's been in the semis. Wow, several times. He's been the coach of the year, and Thomas coach of the year, state coach of the year, district coach of the year, regional coach of the year. I don't know. Have you coached on the Shrine Bowl yet?
Yep, I actually got to coach 2 times. I had to coach during COVID, and then they canceled it on us, and so then we got the draft players the next year. So got a
Yeah.
connection with, 200 kids and 1 coaching staff for 2 years. It was pretty remarkable.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. All right. So again, he's made the transition from a 11-man to 8-man. He's actually done it smooth on one of our previous podcasts with Donnie Hicks. He's another coach that's done that. He's married to his lovely wife Cindy, and they have 3 or 4 wonderful kids. And the last one being a boy, which he's kind of a spitting image, so it's kind of fun to listen to stories on that. Again, our guest tonight, and we're talking some defense. So I'm always pretty excited about that, especially at the 8-man level where it's hard to do. So he's made a living off of that. So John Austin, what's up, dude?
Hey, going good. Everything's awesome.
All right, you ready for this, man? I'm excited.
Yeah, let's roll.
God, can you just imagine how many 8-man coaches are just listening to this right now, thinking, how in the hell is this guy got defense and Gladbrook the way he does in zone coverage? I mean, that's the first thing I thought of. I was like, what 8-man? You think of man, and then I'm excited to take notes and learn from you. I'm pretty pumped, brother.
Yeah, yeah, it's lot of reaction to people tell us that we play zone here, but not going to take all the credit for that. We do have a defensive coordinator, Brett Bangin, who does an amazing job. And since we switched to 8-man back in 2018, I was a defensive coordinator for the 15 or so years before that in 11-man,
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
we had a offensive coordinator who retired, and I said, well, then I'm going to go to the offensive side of the ball. And the guy who's been with me forever, Brett Bangin, played football for us in 11-man back in 2008 and bunch of playoffs and played in college football. I'm like, it's time for you to be the defensive guy. So he's always been the 8-man defensive guy, and he took our 4-2-5 and changed it into a 3-2. And we said, we're doing zone no matter what. We're not playing man. We're not going
man.
to think about it. We're not gonna happen. And let's screw up. Let's go play Don Bosco in the first game ever in 8-man and get our ass kicked. And that's what happened. But we said, we're gonna play zone and we're gonna figure this out. And I think at that time, 2 or 3 teams were doing it. Since I bet you there's close to 10 or 12 teams that are doing it out of 68 or 69, whatever there is,
Yeah,
in 8.
yeah, yeah. I mean, as a former DC myself at 8-man at Dare Casey, like it was man, and again, I had to learn. I was learning the game from Wade Anderson and those guys like that. But it's tough. It's tough. But I'm excited to listen to how you do it and how you teach it and how you guys do it. So let's get into these questions, okay? What's your coaching philosophy? Okay.
Well, I would just say, as a head football coach, it's just I want football to be for everybody. And I know that's just something people say, and I mean it. Like, I want 90% of our kids out for football. We try to get 10 kids every grade out for football that are football players, boys. We only have 15 boys in our school each grade. So to get 10 of 15 is awesome. And we push 40 kids out every year. So get every single kid out. And I think we all know of those 10 kids, not all 10 of them are amazing football players. Maybe 1,
Yeah.
2, or 3 are really good. And the other ones aren't good yet. But if we can keep them out and find a spot for them, football is awesome where fast guys can play, fat guys can play, smart guys can play, dumb
Yeah.
guys can play. It don't
Yeah.
matter. And
Right.
girls can play. Like it,
Right.
let's find a spot. And that's as a coaching staff. I got to find a spot for this kid because he clearly is out for football for one reason. Maybe dad
Correct.
makes him go out. Maybe his mom makes him go out. Maybe his brother, or maybe he just loves football. But we can find a spot for you wherever it is. And sometimes you get to a point where it's like the kid will be like, I'm just, I don't feel good about myself just getting beat all the time. Okay, cool. We got managers. You can be a statistician guy. You can run the video for us. There's tons of other things, take stats. You're all part of the football team. So we get a lot of people out for that reason.
Well, good. Good, 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 good. That's a great philosophy to have. All right, man. What's your defensive philosophy?
Our defense coordinator says the same thing every game for the last whatever we played together, 100 games, and it's fast and physical. And I know a ton of people say that stuff, and what does that really mean? A lot of times, I think when you play a defensive style where you're blitzing a ton, it's easy to say, let's be physical and let's just get after people. But we are almost the exact opposite. We try to play fast and physical, running a 3-2 defense, and we don't blitz anybody. Like, it doesn't happen. Now, some people might say, oh, we've seen you play and you blitz. Well, it's possible that, a certain formation or certain thing says, hey, on this play, when this guy does this, we're going to bring that guy hard. But we don't blitz. We don't even have a blitz call. I mean, we don't have a Sam Go or a Mike Go or a Mike Twist. We don't have it. We don't do it.
Wow.
We just take our linebackers and we work with them 20 minutes probably every single day. All 4 or
Mm,
5 linebackers, whatever we have, freshmen through seniors. We have 2 linebacker coaches. That's their only responsibility. And they are staring at guards. They're staring at the center. They're getting their reads and they are going 100 miles an hour downhill. So sometimes it looks like we're blitzing, but honest to God, we don't call blitz. And so we just go, go, go.
wow.
And our
Wow.
linebackers are it is tough on them when they're freshmen. I mean, they play kinda slow, and they figure it out, and it doesn't matter if you're 130 pounds or, 195, you're gonna do the same read that everybody else does, and so by the time you're a
Right.
senior, you got a chance to be a starting linebacker for us, and that just because you're smart and maybe quick, you know, which
Right.
then gets
Right.
kids to play fast and to play physical because they just mentally can be locked in.
Right. What's the responsibility for drops and stuff at that age when you're first teaching and the keys and where to
Yeah,
key
so
or how to
that's
key?
another thing about 8 man is we couldn't stand, like, watching linebackers turn their back to the ball and go chase a tight end, or even if they're playing zone, fly out to the flats. They're always turning
Right.
their back. You're supposed to get
Right.
at the 135 angle, turn your head back and all this kinda stuff, and it's hard. And so we're like, "All right, the inside 5 is what we call it. You guys are gonna stop the run, and you're gonna take care of it. You're gonna get downhill, and, oh, crap, it's a pass." So then what our linebackers are gonna do, assuming they get the right read, they do open at 135, and they're gonna take first guy coming in. That's all we say, first guy coming in. So before any of that stuff happens, they gotta know I got 1 receiver outside, 2 receivers outside, which guy could possibly be the first guy coming in. And so then as you get your, pass read, foot sticks in the ground, open up at 135. Oh, number 12 was the first guy that could come in. He went out, look for the next guy. They only move in 5 yards. And so because we play a zone behind that, the timing of the quarterback should be off. Like, in man to man, like, you really know kinda who you're throwing to, and you can throw it kinda whenever you want, but you're throwing it away from the defender. Against a zone, you might not be able to throw exactly when you want to because that guy's kinda covered, he's kinda not covered, is he open? But he's definitely open when he gets to that zone at that exact moment. So you've got a split second to hit him right then. And if you
And
can't
you're
hit him
looking for
right
that bubble, yeah.
then, now I look back to my left. Well, where's that zone at? They're just not used to it. We just got done playing Woodbine in the semifinals. They played a zone against us, and we struggled with it. Because our quarterback is awesome, but he hadn't played zone all year, and we practice it all through practice. Basically the same zone that we run. It's just really hard. The timing has to be exactly right against the zone. But back to the linebackers questions. I mean, they just are downhill players. When they read it and they see pass, they see it right away and they get back to their little spot that's 5 yards away and sit and wait and get a ton of picks. They usually lead our team in picks unless we have a great free safety. They usually lead our team with picks every year.
Right. Okay. So now, and again, we had our coaching clinic. Me and you we were at the board meeting and we were talking defense, and you were explaining kind of like your coverages that you play and underneath and all those things. Can you go in depth and kind of explain that a little more, like you're teaching?
Yeah, no doubt. James White is our defensive back coach. Again, I'm pretty blessed that the fact I got a linebackers coach, got a defensive back coach, and a defensive line coach, and a defensive coordinator. They have no offensive responsibilities. We have 9 coaches on our
Man,
staff.
wow.
It's just, I mean, that's why our freshmen are good. That's why our scout team's good. We
Right.
got a lot of
Right.
depth. And so
Right.
very blessed, very lucky.
At that level, that's amazing. At that level,
Yeah.
that's amazing. Yeah.
And 4 of them get paid, the other 5 like T-shirts. You know what I mean? They do. They wanna come, they wanna play, they wanna it's just you gotta make it fun for them. So they're
Right.
passionate for those 20 minutes they get with those defensive backs, that's their passion. They
Right.
wait
Yeah.
all day for those 20 minutes, and it's just I
Correct.
get goosebumps talking about it because I just love
Yeah.
love all that stuff, and so, back to like the coverages wise, we're in a 3-2. So our D lines obviously just getting to the quarterback if they see a pass read. Our linebackers are going to get to their first guy coming in. It's not necessarily a hook curl or anything like that. It's first guy coming in and they don't chase. So if the guy goes across his face, they're going to yell drag. And we do want them to go in front of them instead of behind. So if our linebackers, the deeper they can get, the better. So everything's in front of them because an 8-man football, big plays happen. It's just the way it is. So if we can tackle you for a 5-yard gain, good for you. Now do it 10 more times to get 50 yards. That's kind of how we
Right.
think. So that's what our linebackers do. Our corners and our free safety is kind of a combination between a quarters coverage, cover two. Doesn't really have a name necessarily. It's just our zone. It's not anything brand new that we invented at all. But if it's a two receiver side, so it could be a tight end or it could be the wide receiver out there. We're gonna run cover two to
Mhm.
that side. And an 8-man, there's usually only one other receiver to the other side. That's pretty much all you have. And we don't care about the running back. Like, it's not part of our coverages, we'll rally to the running back.
Right.
Now, obviously, you make adjustments. The running backs get 50 catches on the year. Yeah, we'll make adjustments to it. But generally speaking, cover two to the two receiver side, and then you got a combo coverage on the backside with a linebacker and a cornerback, depending on, a couple different things going on. So that's the original alignment. We try to get everybody exactly the right spots every time. So hopefully, if you watch us on film, our linebackers are at 4, our corners are at 6, our safeties at 8. And if we happen to have a fourth D back, he's at 12. Or sorry, 10. So it goes 4, 6, 8, 10, and hopefully exactly at those marks. So
Mhm.
no matter what you're running for an offense, you're not going to see anything different on us, which some would say, well, that's pretty easy to figure out what you're doing. And I say, you're probably right. You're probably right. But we're going to go play really, really fast. And we know what we're doing every single play.
Right.
And
Yeah.
if you beat us, you beat us, but for the most part, you don't. So we're going to rally to everything and make plays.
Right, right. And again, those windows, those zone windows close so quick, especially at that level. You know what I mean? Because you don't. I
Yeah.
mean, you see decent quarterbacks, but it's a little different.
And, like, the
How
windows
does
you talk
go ahead?
through, like, it's the width of the field. Like, I don't care if the field's 100 yards long or 500 yards long or 80 yards long,
Right,
who cares?
right.
But when it's 7 yards more narrow on each side,
It's tough.
holy crap.
It's tough.
That's good to throw in a window exactly the right moment at exactly the right time, and a lot of times in zone, you actually have people double covered a decent amount, unless you got a 3rd receiver that's pretty good in zone coverage. You got a guy underneath in some capacity and a guy behind, and sometimes you even get a 3rd guy in there that's either helping outside or inside, so a lot of times you got people double covered.
Right, right. Okay, so how do you handle those teams that do run RPOs? I know you're getting a lot of guys that are running, okay, I'm gonna run RPOs, quick games, bubbles, now screens, blah, 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 blah. You guys are just your thought process is okay, as long as we're not beat deep, we're gonna rally to it, or how's that work philosophy?
So let's just take the 2 receiver side to start with. Let's just say the team's in twins, 2 receiver side. We got a safety over there that's sitting at 8 yards. We got a
Yeah,
corner over there at 6 yards. The one thing we can do, if a team's gonna throw 60 times against us or something, then we will change. We won't always be in 6 and 8. We'll go 4 and 4 just to, you know, mess with a little timing a little bit here and there. And how
yeah,
good is that
yeah,
guy that blocked in the bubble? But generally speaking, so the 2
right,
receiver side, we're telling our corner, which is a little different too. We play 6 by 1 and 1 to the outside. We don't play 1 to the
right,
inside. We play 1 to the outside. So we can see everything.
right,
So he's gonna attack anything short. So if that guy runs a bubble, now, instantly, boom, I got you. Instantly. And then we teach him if that guy's in front of you is a good blocker and he gets hands on you, that's no different than taking on a defensive end on a power block. So you're gonna
yeah,
drive him back in, outside leverage, make that gap as small as possible. We're gonna tell the safety then, you saw that guy go short, you gotta get your eyes on the number one who'll
right,
be running deep. And once you see him blocking, then you actually attack the blocker because you're running in that little gap that is right between the corner and where the guy's trying to run off the guy's butt. And if he cuts back on you, that's where a Mike linebacker should be flying as fast as he can. And if he's awesome and you got 3 on 1 or 2, however you
mhm,
want to, do that, he gets 5 yards. Our guys aren't pissed about that. They move on. They just,
right,
okay, you got 5 yards on us. Now, what the offensive coordinator has to do, he's got to be okay with 5 yards 15 times. And I'm an offensive coordinator now and I don't like going for 5 yards for 15 times because my tackle or my guard's going to screw up. My quarterback's going to screw up. My center's going to screw up. The guy's going to drop the ball. I want to throw it deep. I want to get a touchdown. So they don't like it at all. I actually
right,
heard, Burns on here a couple weeks ago on the podcast. That was an awesome that you guys know each other pretty well and at BGM. We ran cover two against him whole time, and he was good enough to take the 5 yards in a cloud of dust all the time. He was really good at it. But
Pretty
eventually,
patient. You got to be patient.
yeah, mistakes happen, and we're fortunate to handle them a couple times. But it was tough playing against them because he calls plays from the sidelines and he knows what's going on. He's pretty smart in that area, but it just takes a lot of patience from the kids. Because an 8 man, you get a long touchdown and then a 5 yard gain, another long touchdown, and hopefully against our defense, I think we gave up 9 points a game the last 2 years. I think we gave up
Mm.
11 the last 3 years or something like that. So it's like
Mhm. Mhm.
it takes a lot of patience, and we also know where our weaknesses are. So, like, our kids don't get down when the guy gets 8
Right.
yards. "Yeah, he got 8
Right.
yards. Let's go. Move on to the next play."
Yeah. Moving
So,
on.
no.
Good. 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 All right. So you again. You went into the linebackers and the DBs. Touch on the D line a little bit, okay? Because I know you said you got three down, but just kind of explain what their jobs and responsibilities are up front there.
Yeah, so it depends a little bit if you got a tight end, or not have a tight end, but generally speaking, right? So we're gonna be We're gonna be in a 3 tech, on the guard with both of our ends. If they have a tight end, we might be in a 4 eye. If our that's our home base. Our nose guard's gonna be head up. Sometimes we'll put them in a 1 tech. It just there's a little bit of, variance there depending on formation, but that's a general thought process and scheme. Talk about being able to adjust to your personnel. We also have got if you got a big, huge nose guard that can eat up 2 gaps, that's what he gets to do. If you've got a guy going to Northwest Missouri State that's playing a defensive end for you, well, guess what? We call you a 3 tech, but you're gonna drive the guy straight back into the quarterback.
Yeah.
And instead of
Yeah.
running
Yeah.
4 eyes, we're gonna put you in a 6, you know what I mean? So, like, we're gonna
Right. Right.
or I should say 5. We're gonna take you straight back. So there's a little bit of difference there. But no matter who you are, awesome, bad, great, whatever you are, we get hands-on and we're locking out. And we're driving and we're fighting pressure, and we're gonna have gap integrity. So, like, our nose guard knows he needs to be in this A gap, our backside linebacker knows he needs to be in the other A gap while they're reading, while they're playing fast. And we do a ton of run fits. So if our DN does get blocked down or reached, then our linebacker knows to scrape. So he's going to fill his hole and then scrape to the outside. So a lot of it's hands on, a lot of pressure as far as just driving guys straight back, but with hands, not just bull rushing technique. Just control your guy. Again, if that running back's going to bounce and he runs a 4.5 40 or something like that, we'll make him go as far as he possibly can so he can catch up to other
Yeah.
fast guys and catch up to him. So
Okay.
we really want to push everything to the outside. We don't see a ton of power in 8 man when you've got a bunch of receivers. If they come out and run, double tight, 3 guys in the backfield, we honestly haven't seen a ton of that. We saw it last year against Bedford. We still try to stay in a 3. We'll be in a 3-3 instead of a 3-2. We'll just treat it as just like we played St. Ansgar way back in the day in 11 man, and we ran a 4-2 against them. And people are like, "You're freaking crazy." It's like, "Yeah, we are crazy." But if
Do
everybody
what you
else
do. Yeah.
plays fast, I'm not gonna switch to a 5 if we're not good at it, you know? 'Cause then everybody's not sure where they're going and what they're doing, or you got a stand-up DN that doesn't quite do it right. So, we played a 5 back in 2004 because we're really good at it. So that's where I mean, you gotta adjust to the players you have, and that kinda stuff. But anyway, up front, 3-man guys, they're gonna get hands-on, great technique. Our defensive coordinator, Brett Bang, is actually our defensive line coach, and he has a assistant defensive line coach with him and Tyler Eifler. So we
Mm.
got 4 defensive coaches.
Mm.
Again, just so when our DC goes to Skelly's or he goes to inside drill,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
always somebody that's kinda backing him up, and it, does a tremendous job.
Yeah, that's good. That's good stuff. And that's one thing that I've learned just by doing this podcast, right? Is some guys, the valleys, the dallies, or whatever it is, and even successful programs, they have more than just one position coach to keep eyes and to get guys moving during those sessions. So that's good. So my question, going back to when you face a team like Algona Garrigan that's unbalanced, you're gonna sit and you're just gonna stay in your zone and stay in your base, or do you bring in a linebacker, or how does that work for you at that level?
We I don't wanna say it changes every year because it doesn't, but we want the 8 best players on the field that we can get. We've
Right.
done different things. We've
Right.
taken a
Yeah.
safety and brought him down. Bottom line is these 8 guys need to stay on the field the whole time. Now, if you're fortunate enough that, you've got a ninth player that can come in and out, but someone like Garrigan, if we bring a 4-man front and go to a 4-2, they're good enough that they're just gonna take number 9 and split him out, and we're screwed. So, like, there's certain teams that can just adjust, so we're better off just keeping the same people on the field, and if
Stay in
they
the
do unbalance, Waco does unbalanced, but we're just gonna shift people over, just pretend like the guard's the center's the guard, that kind of a deal, and just
Right.
get their mind straight and train just right, and maybe just have those corners tighter to the 6x1, your 4x1. Now know the difference between if you're a corner, instead of being the guy that was jumping a bubble, now you're reading the tight end. If he down blocks, you're filling now type of thing. It's the same concept because you still got help over the top with the safety. So it's just making the field smaller, making their reads, maybe looking at a different guy, but it's the same thing. So no matter who we're playing, everybody's like, "Oh, I'm still going downhill fast. Oh, I'm still covering over top fast. I'm still a linebacker." You know, some of that we have a lot of memorization of each team on the scouting report, but like that's just to be understand that this team's got a good player here and a good player there, but the reads are always the same no matter who we're
Yeah.
playing.
All right. And you kind of touched on this a little bit. Do you adjust your scheme to your players, or do you try to adjust your players to your scheme? How's it work for you?
Well, when we first did 8-man, we just screwed up in the sense where we went from a 4-2-5 and we thought we'd run a 2-3. And we did it because we thought it translated better. We thought a 4-2, translated to a 2-3 and just because you had the 4-2-5 behind it and
Hmm.
we found out after a week or two that no, that was a bad idea and it did not work. It not because the 2-3
Right.
wouldn't work, it was just
Right.
like, it just didn't match up. So we got about 2 or 3 weeks into practice. We're like, "No, that this is not how this works." And luckily enough, we got to play Don Bosco in week 1, so they showed us who's boss right away. So, like, it didn't
Right.
matter what we played against them, they're gonna kick our
Right.
butt
No.
anyway, right? Yoder does an
No,
awesome
not that
job with those
year.
guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then we stuck with the 3-2, and we've been to 3-2 whatever it's been, 8 years. Now there's a few teams, that we've switched to a 2-1 is what we call it. And so that actually, even though it kinda is a 2-3, it's more of a 2-1, which does actually feel more like a 4-2. So we've actually did that against Don Bosco when they go spread on us. And they did that because they're a running team, so we could take that linebacker and based on some reads, he'd be
Oh,
blitzing,
internet.
which I
Come
just
on,
told you
stay
we don't
there.
blitz. But get to the 2-1, it's like, well, you kinda gotta do something different. But of all the games we played in 100 and some games, you kinda go to the two-man front like 3 times. I mean, seriously, 3 times in 100 games, and every time we do it, we're
Right.
like, it's a possession or 2 to change things up, but because Don Bosco's so good at what they do, like, yeah, let's not be too arrogant here, like, I can't sit in what I wanna do every single play, So,
Right.
it's,
Right. Right.
you move around a little bit, but yeah, back to the question, basically, almost all I would say this, we always gonna adjust to our players, but I would say almost every player can be in a 3-2. Like, I truly believe we got 130 to 180-pound guys, all of them can play linebacker. With the linebacker coaches we have, all of them can play linebacker. So, almost as your freshman year, it's like, okay, who can just lock in and click? Who
And
can
do it.
tackle
Yeah.
in space? Who can adjust? Who's smart? Who's a good leader? Boom. You 4 the linebackers. Gotcha. Okay, you guys were unbelievably physical and aggressive, but you just can't move left to right. Okay, you're gonna be nose guard defensive end. So just kind of shift one the way or the other. Maybe you're not super physical, but man, you're smart and fast and understand the game. You're gonna probably play cornerback and free safety. So like I just feel like a 3-2 is super easy to adjust back and forth and get every player to fit in just right. But if we had a whole bunch of 240-pound guys and nobody that could run, we probably would somehow have to stick to a 4-2 or something, but that just hasn't happened in the 8
Right.
years we've done it, man.
Good, good, good. All right, man, you're breezing through this, and like I said, we've adjusted and kind of wavered away from my own question, just talking defensive football, so it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, well, I'm an offensive coordinator. I've been defense forever. I just hey,
I
4th
know it's
hey,
just what you, yeah.
4th and 1 in a state championship game. Now you wanna play offense or defense? Tell me the truth. 4th and 1, state championship, what do you wanna play?
Me,
Yeah,
man, oh, dude, I'm defense all day long.
me too. Defense all day long. Let's go. Like, I wanna play defense. Like, if you're the offensive guy, you know where you're going, you know what you're
Yeah,
doing, and you think you're gonna win. Let me play defense, and I'm gonna try
I
to
want to
win.
stop you. Yeah, I'm gonna try to win. That's the goal.
I wanna try to win.
Yeah, yeah.
I
That's
can't
that's
change
kind
it in
of
my brain.
no, yeah. It's when you're a defensive guy, it's kind of bred in you. Even though there's a lot of defensive guy that ends up calling offense and all the things, and that's a podcast for another time.
Yeah. Yeah,
Calling
yeah.
your own, but yeah, I get you. I feel you on that one, brother. Okay, so if I'm a young coach or if I'm a veteran coach or I'm new to a program and I want to install your defense, what are some key? Give me about 3 key. And this is our last question before we get to a goofy one. Okay,
Okay, yeah.
what are 3 key points that I should be teaching?
If you're a new guy, 22 years old, whatever it is, experience, then the reason I'm gonna tell you to start in a 3-2 is Everybody's in the same spot every time. It doesn't have to be memorization like, well, sometimes I go here, where's this guy? No, just line up right there and don't move. Now, obviously, there's little adjustments you can make as you get better, but don't move. And then, as a player and as a coach, who's my outside players? Let's not make this complicated. It's the cornerbacks. Don't let anybody outside of you. Who's my inside players? Defensive linemen, probably linebackers. Don't let anybody inside of you. Who's the deep guy? Safety. He's probably your fastest guy when you're first starting this. Don't let anybody behind you. Same thing we do at recess. Like, let's just play football. So keep it really, really, really simple. Okay. This is my personal opinion. Don't get caught up in any blitz packages. You might become a hero for a play, but the best teams are going to take advantage of that. The best players, you can have them dead to rights and they're still just going to run you over. So just get to a place where it feels comfortable and safe for the kids. They're going to play extremely fast. Who's my outside players? Who my deep players are? Who's my inside players? And just, it doesn't need to be any more complicated than that. It just doesn't. Now, if you got a lot of great players, you got a great team, you can start doing different tricks. If you become a blitz guy, go for it. But it takes more than just sending a linebacker in an A gap. Everybody's got to fit around them too. So it just takes some time and some learning. So just the simplest thing you can do on defense and try to hold the other team to, you know, 3 to 5 to 6 yards. In 8-man football, I mean, if they get past the 5, 6, 7 yard mark, there's no backside safety to help you. You're gone. So if you keep the other team under 8 yards, that's a good defense. And then care about the points. I mean, make it harder as they get closer. But anyway, going too deep there. But the basic stuff is just outside, inside guys, play fast, line up right. It'll be good.
Good, 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 good. Man, I tell you what, I'm ready to go out and coach right now in the snow.
I love, I love.
I'm ready to go. I'm ready to rock.
Yeah, I tell you one of the negatives about having 9 awesome assistant coaches, because we do, we got 9 of them. One of the negative things is they do all the coaching, and so then I stand on the sidelines sometimes,
Yeah,
and I
just
I try
watch.
and I'm just like, "Boy, you guys are awesome. Like, when do I get to do some stuff here?" But in all reality, you
Yeah,
can
yeah.
manage the game so much better that way and let those
Mhm.
guys be passionate at what they do, be so proud of them and how they act. Not to be the old guy, but I'm getting old and it's awesome. So this year actually is my first year back to being an offensive play caller. And so it was a challenge for me. It was like going to grad school. And heck, I'm not good at school at all, but it was like going to grad school because I wanted to be awesome, and I haven't called offense for 10 years, and I had a lot of good players this year, so I'm like, I'm gonna study this thing. I know how to do the defense, and I'm gonna work on the offense, and we have
Yeah, yeah.
5 offensive coaches too that only work with their positions, so they help me out a ton.
That's good. Good, good, good. All right, goofy question. Here we go. All right, man. It's March Madness. Okay. And I know you like to follow the bracket. I know you're into it. Okay. Who's gonna win it all and why?
Boy, so I think Arizona, and here's why I think it's Arizona. People put a lot of stuff on, like, three-point shooting, like, Duke Duke seems like to make a ton of threes except when it matters the most, and I have nothing to go by besides just what I think's happened the last 10 years, right?
Right, right.
I'm an Iowa Hawkeye fan. I just want them to win 2 games so we can break the curse of the Hawkeyes. I love watching Iowa State play because they get
Yeah.
after you like crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
If you've ever heard Coach McCollum speak at Iowa, if you're a football nerd, you listen to Coach McCollum speak at Iowa. He has every possession of every game memorized. It is crazy. I had my defensive coordinator listen to him. And McCollum was closing his eyes after press conference and talking about, okay, when this guy does this, he went here and then he did there and then he scraped and then he had a it's the nerdiest stuff ever and it's so awesome if you're a defensive guy. But Arizona, because they're super aggressive like Iowa State is. And I think Iowa
Mm,
State's an awesome team, and they don't
yeah.
rely on making the 3 pointers.
Right,
And the best
right.
coach ever was Lute Olson, and he coached for Arizona, and he was coach for the Hawkeyes. So let's go there. It's a Hawkeye win.
I love it. I love it, love it, love it, love it. All right. So hey, if I'm a coach and I want to get a hold of you, what's a good email for you?
Yeah. So JOHN dot OLSON at GR hyphen rebels.net.
All right. Okay. That was good, man. I'm excited. This was a wonderful talk. And the coaches, like I said, if you're listening to this, and I know many of you are, some of his opponents, some of the guys trying to learn, we get it. It's he's a good dude and a good person to learn from it. And again, thank you, coach, for taking the time out. And I know you got basketball practice that you got to go to or a game that you got to watch. And we appreciate you so much. Coaches around the state, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the IFCA Journal podcast. And again, like I said, you can watch it on Spotify, not YouTube TV, sorry, YouTube and Apple Podcasts. Again, thanks, John. Appreciate you, brother.
You got it. Thank you.
You're the man. Like we always say on the pod, keep grinding. That was awesome.